Stop giving out band-aids, these, on your sales calls. You are sabotaging your sales, and I'm going to tell you why. We're talking today about giving out band-aids. I had to take it out of its little package because it turns out it wasn't Band-Aid brand. I hope I'm not going to get sued by Band-Aids. I think that's their trademark. Flexible fabric things. Don't give out flexible fabric things to people on sales calls. So here's why I'm teaching this. I have seen so many women who are super empathetic and intuitive, and that's your superpower, right? You kind of get people, you feel all this compassion. Maybe you get on a sales call or a meeting and you're like, I totally feel you. Maybe you were your client and you can completely relate to what they're telling you. But here's the problem. Then you start giving out the band-aids. So what are band-aids? Band-aids are little fix-its that you give to potential clients that make you feel really good. Like, oh, I'm helping this person. I'm being so generous. Or maybe you even think, I'm showing them that I'm an expert in this. I just shared this incredible nugget. But in fact, you're sabotaging your sales. And we're going to break this down. Let's take a real example. So let's say that you have a company that helps people with their websites. You build new websites, you fix up existing websites, and somebody comes to you with an outdated website. Maybe it's 5 years old, which is like a century, right, in the current world. So they feel like it looks outdated. They're meeting people at trade shows and networking, but then feeling almost embarrassed to give out their card or their contact information because the website is outdated. Maybe it doesn't even look good on mobile. It's not responsive, all the things. So you get on this call with them and they're telling you all about how they need some help. And you, because you've done thousands of websites, start asking them, well, have you done the recent update? Let's say it's in Squarespace where they built the website. Have you done the recent update? Or did you know that you can just do this plugin that will achieve exactly that thing that you say you want? Let's say they say, I want to have my social media popping up at the bottom of my page, like in a little widget on my website. And you know that's super easy to install. And so you just share this little Band-Aid, right? You say, oh, you know what? If you just go to the side in Squarespace, you can just find that really easily and add that widget. Here's the problem with doing that is that if you ever have given a child a Band-Aid, and I raised two boys, so when I gave them a Band-Aid, it probably didn't look like this. It was probably like Diego or Dora the Explorer. You know, that's when they grew up. And then when you gave them the Band-Aid, they were so excited, like, wow, I want to go put on this Band-Aid. This is so cool. And they run off to put on the Band-Aid. That's what your client's going to do. Everything you say after that, they may not even hear because they've now written down or they've made a mental note, oh, I need to go try this thing. And so you put this little Band-Aid over the pain that they came to you with, which was building a new website, updating their website. And now they're not even thinking about that anymore. Now they just want to run off and try adding this widget themselves because you told them how to do it. And if you're not a website builder, just sub in whatever you do because I know you do it or you wouldn't even be watching today. So let's say you're a consultant and you know how to help resolve conflict in the workplace. And someone comes to you saying, you know, we made this big hire, we invested so much in her, but now she's not getting along with the people on her team. And we don't want to have to fire her. We just spent 6 months finding her. You know, can you help us with this workplace conflict that we're having? Well, you know about all the best books about workplace conflict. You know methods that have worked. So you might be tempted on this call to show that off a little bit or just give them what? A little Band-Aid, right? Oh, have you tried having them sit down together and do this method or whatever it is that you do? So what I want to encourage you to think about is when you're tempted to give out a Band-Aid, instead of doing that, just say, I've heard a lot of people share that same challenge. I really feel for you. That must be so hard. Now that does the opposite of the Band-Aid. It credentials you a little bit as an expert because you've worked with lots of people. So of course you've heard about this problem. It also means that they still have to hire you to solve the problem because that's the main thing we want to avoid is them feeling like, oh, well, I'm just going to go try this myself. And then they don't need to hire you. The other thing you can say is, yes, when I work with clients like you, maybe sub in who they are, when I work with people who are redoing their websites, one of the first things we do is look at, what do you want to include on there that you haven't included yet? And we've heard a lot of people say that they want their social media to be showing up on there. Since they're spending all this time on social media, why shouldn't it flow through to the website, right? That's free content. So that's another way to avoid giving out a Band-Aid. In fact, on your sales calls, if you've taken my sales training, Sales Cure, you know that we're actually doing the opposite of giving out Band-Aids. We're helping people to realize that whatever problem they came to us with, it's probably even more urgent and more important to solve than they realized. Because as human beings, we have a tendency to downplay our problems. If we had to really face every single one of our problems at full volume all day long, we would never get anything done. So instead, we kind of tampen it down. And so when they get on the phone with you, sure, the problem is, big enough that they set up the call or the Zoom or sat down with you in person if you're lucky, but you might need to help them reconnect with the urgency of that, because they also have a bunch of other problems. In addition to needing to fix up the website, they have clients they didn't get back to. Maybe their payment system isn't working. Maybe it's end of the year and they just found out there's all these obligations they have legally with the registration of their company they need to take care of. The second they get off that call, all those other problems are going to come flooding back in. So if you have this precious 30 minutes with a client, then you don't want to spend that time giving out Band-Aids and tempting them to get off the call and go do those. No, you want to have the sales training to help them get more connected to the problem and realize that it's going to cost them more to keep the problem than to pay you to solve it. That is a number one principle of sales, that if you can help your clients see it's going to cost them more to keep the problem than to pay you to solve it, then you are going to get to yes way more time. But I want to do a little recap. So if you're on a call and someone is asking you questions or sharing pain that they're having in their business, and you're tempted to give out a little Band-Aid to help them, figure out what to do because you have a big heart and maybe you've been where they are, or you want to show that you really know how to help people, then just remember me and the Band-Aid. Don't do it. And instead, I want you to say, oh, that's an issue we've heard a lot of our clients are facing. Or yes, that's one of the first things we often work on with clients when we do our work together. It'll give you something to do that's not giving out Band-Aids. And it will also get you that much closer to the yes. Because if the client still feels like they don't have their problem solved, then they need to hire you to solve it. All right, I hope you can go try that today, not giving out Band-Aids and instead credentialing yourself, talking about other clients, and giving people a reason to hire you to fix the problem. Thanks for joining me here today. Check out scalewithjulia.co if you want to set up a call with me, or go to our website, millionwomen.com. They both will lead you to me through book a call. And I look forward to seeing you back here.